Hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing well today. Welcome back to Scale Skills Preparatory level. This video is lesson 12. We're going to cover page 13 in our book today. This is a continuation from lesson 11, which covered page 12, finger exercises. We went through exercises 1, 2, and 3. So in this video, we're going to continue on page 13 with exercises 4, 5, and 6. All right, so I'm glad you're with me again today. We're getting closer and closer to finishing up the preparatory level book, and as soon as that's done, we'll jump right into level 1. But let's go ahead and continue with these finger exercises. So as a quick review, in lesson 11, we covered 3 exercises on page 12, and you notice that under the title finger exercises, it said transpose to the G, D, A, E, B, F, and B flat 5-finger position. So that is a big part of these exercises, being able to play them and all these other keys. So we're going to continue doing that over on page 13. So if you look at exercise 4, notice this one's a little bit longer. This one actually covers 2 lines, but we're kind of picking up on the same theme here, where if you focus on the fact that the hands are mirroring each other, in other words, your hands are not playing the same notes, but they are playing the same fingers. Now, in my experience, this is actually easier for most people. There is also the idea of playing the same notes in both hands. So, for example, playing C's and D's, C's and E's, that there's something to be said about that. That's easy, but you're playing with different fingers when you do that. But here, so we're in our C position. Here, when you use your thumb in both hands, you're on different notes. G in the left hand, C in the right hand. And when you go to the second finger, you're on F and D. So the nice thing about that, which tends to be easier for most people, especially beginners, is we're just kind of wired that way, that you play with your thumbs and second fingers, thumbs, third fingers, no matter what the key is. Because if you took this exercise and you did it like on a tabletop, then you could really see the difference, right? Thumbs are going to be easier and second fingers, rather than going pinky thumb and then 4 and 2, right? You can feel the difference when you take your hands, your fingers, and do that away from the piano. So all I'm saying is that this exercise is a continuation of lesson 11, where we're going to mirror the hands and therefore be using the same fingers. So the little trick to this is, I want us to be aware of what the notes are, but here's the little trick. If you do not move your fingers from the C position, and remember, this is a finger exercise, so there is some temptation with beginners with weaker fingers to move the hands around too much. And the reason for that is because the arm is stronger than individual fingers. But finger exercises, we're working on strengthening our finger strength. Strengthening our finger strength. I guess you could say it that way. It doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying. Strengthening our fingers. So what you want to do in these exercises is get your 5 fingers in the C positions and don't move the hands. Only use the fingers. So there really isn't going to be a whole lot of hand movement. Now, that doesn't mean just stay completely locked and tight, but you're not going to waver off these keys, right? If you do that, and if you follow the fingering or the pattern of the notes, then chances are you're not going to hit a wrong note, even if you don't know what that note is you're playing. So that's the little trick. Now, we do experience this sometimes in songs, in piece of music. From time to time, you'll encounter a little section of the piece of music, and that's the way I look at it. Once I realize there's a pattern and it's the same fingers, I won't look at the notes. I'll follow the pattern. And so remember, that's just another tool in your musical toolbox to use to help you learn a piece of music. So number 4 at the top of page 13. We're going to start with our thumbs, G and C, and then our second fingers. We're going to F and D. We're going to come back to the G and C, and then we're going to expand to our third finger. Now, third finger happens to be E's in both hands, so that's kind of cool. The pattern continues going back to G and C, and then we expand to the fourth finger, D and F, and then once again G and C, and then we're up to C and G with our fifth fingers. So this pattern in this exercise, it always comes back to the thumbs. Now listen to it and watch along as I do the fingering. So we got 1s, 2, back to 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5. So it keeps expanding the pattern, right? But every time in between it expands, comes back to 1. So that's your pattern. Now, here's where we ended at the end of the second measure, the third measure. You're going to do the same thing coming back. So you come back, of course, to the 1s, but then you go to 4, D and F, and then 1s again, 3s, last measure, 1, 2, and 1. So if you move your hands at all and you're focusing on the fingers like I'm doing right now, you will hit the wrong notes. But if you stay right there the whole time, you can't miss the note. And if you have any temptation, that is a clue that your fingers need work, right? Again, finger exercises. The whole point of this is to strengthen our fingers. So don't be tempted to move around, even if it feels weak. That's the whole point of this. And then you see the repeat sign. So actually, the first line of this exercise will repeat. So let's do it one more time. Thumb, second finger, back to 1, third finger, 1, 4, 1, and then 5, 1, we're coming back, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, and then end it on 1. Now, they're all eighth notes. It doesn't have to be eighth notes. The whole point, or the one thing you want to make sure you do when you play these exercises is evenness. You don't want to go, you got to make everything nice and even. Doesn't matter how long or how short each note are, as long as it's even. Of course, the longer the notes, the slower you're going and the more careful you'll be. So of course I encourage that, especially early on. So you've ended right here, and then you're going to go down to the second line. So the second line is a little different. In fact, it's the opposite. You're going to start on 5s. Okay, so C and G. And then you're going to go to your fourth finger. But it always goes back to 5s. Okay, and then your third finger. The second measure, back to 5s. And then the second finger, back to 5s. And then your thumbs. Third measure, 5s, and now we're going to expand back out. So we go to 2s, 5s, 3s, and then the last measure, 5, 4, 5. So you see the pattern and you see the relationship between the first and second line. The first and second line was always coming back to the thumbs. But here it's the opposite. It's always going back to the pinkies, the 5s. So 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1. Got it? Let's do that line one more time. So that will repeat. So we got 5s, 4s, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1. The third measure, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. And that's basically it. And then you're just going to want to put the two lines together. Now, you don't have to do the repeats. I mean, I think you're going to end up repeating it plenty of times, just practicing, right? But what you do want to do is you want to be able to make the switch. And when I say switch, I mean like almost like a light switch, just on and off. You want to be able to go from this pattern on the first line, etc., etc. Well, let me play it through. And then switch it up, going right into that second line. So it's really good to be able to switch up patterns like that, because again, that can happen in music. But that's a good mental challenge too. You get so used to a pattern, you want to be able to be that light switch where you can go on and off. Now, speaking of that, that's where key changes come into play, right? You're playing in the key of C, and then all of a sudden, boom, you switch to the key of G. And so let's take this number 4 exercise here, and we'll go to our G position. Now, remember in the key of G major, there is 1 sharp F sharp, but in our 5-finger position, there is no F sharp. And so once again, if you stay locked with your fingers in this position, this is where it's actually a really good exercise because you can't read the notes, right? The notes are printed in the key of C. So now you're forced to rely on staying in that G position, watching the fingering and watching the intervals, the distance, and of course, from one note to the next, and of course, our pattern that we just talked about. So this is where it's a really good test. So again, you're starting with thumb, 2nd finger, thumb, 3rd finger, thumb, 4th finger, thumb, 5th finger, thumb, 4, thumb, 3, thumb, 2, and then you end it with the thumb. Let's go down to the 2nd line. So remember, it starts on 5. 5s, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. So again, it's going to be a little tougher, especially if you're relying on reading the notes. You can read the notes when you look, as far as looking at the pattern, or like I said, the distance between notes. But it's more about, the fingering at this point. So stay close to the keys and make sure that, your thumbs don't come off the keyboard. That is very tempting for myself even. I'm playing, especially when I play with the weaker fingers. Let me give you a very crude example. If I play with my pinkies, I see this happen a lot. Now I'm exaggerating it, but what happens is people are trying to put all their weight into weak fingers, use the sides of the hand, which sometimes is good, but in this case it's not for finger strengthening, not for finger exercises. You want to do this. And if you're saying, well, I just can't do that, try to curve the fingers more. Use the fingertips, okay? If you're still doing this, here's a trick. Hold your thumbs down and play these other notes. Because now what I'm doing is I'm training my thumb to stay down, or at least stay close to the key, right? So keep that in mind when working on these exercises. Now we're going to go to the key of D. So the 5-finger position is D, E, F sharp, G, and A. The key of D has a F sharp and a C sharp, and here's our F sharp. So when I outline that, I'm not putting my 3rd finger here on the F key, I'm putting it on the F sharp key, and I'm going to keep it there the entire time. So at the top, we're going to do our first line. We got 1, 2, 1, 3. There's our F sharp. 1, 4, 1, 5. Then coming back, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1. Now going to the 2nd line, we got 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. Okay, let's go over to A major. The 5-finger position is A, B, C sharp, E, D, and E. So once again, have your 3rd finger on the C sharp at all times. A major has an F, C, and G sharp. But in our 5-finger position, the only sharp we have is C. So at the top, we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1. Now down to the bottom, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. And then E major. Now we have 2 sharps. So we had F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Now we add D sharp, but in the 5-finger position, there is no D sharp. There's only F sharp and G sharp. So now you got to have 4 and 2, 4 in the left hand, 2 in the right hand, on the F sharp, and our 3's on G sharp the entire time. So you really want to play into the keys. Okay? Starting at the top, we got 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. Now this one I'm going to highlight because this is the first time you have a black key and a white key. Doesn't feel pretty natural. Feels a little unbalanced, not to mention, fortunately in this exercise, you do have the same finger, so that helps, but keep in mind, feels a little unbalanced. And then 1, 5, now coming back, 1, 4, so there we are again, 1, 3, 1, 2, I forgot to mention this one, I forgot to mention the F sharp. Early on, you got 2 on the F sharp in the right hand, 2 on A. That one's a little bit easier because it's the second finger, stronger fingers. Remember, 4s are weaker fingers, so I suspect the 4 is going to be a little more challenging. And then end it with 1. Now, going down to the second line, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5. Wait, I'm messing something up here. I'm messing something up. Let's start that again, the second line. 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. No, actually, I think I was right. I was just distracted. I was thinking about something. But what I was thinking about was going back to how you have these unbalanced moments now with the keys, the combination. So F sharp and A, but then the G sharps are together, and then the F sharp and the A. So that's going to be a little trickier. So you might have to spend a little bit more time on that. Now, going to B major. B major is the one that just really gets everyone. B major has 5 sharps, and so that's basically all 5 black keys. So in the 5-finger position, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, and F sharp. Make sure you don't play the F natural. So it feels a little unnatural here with the balance. D sharp to E is real tight, but those are the correct notes. B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp. Okay? This one's going to be tricky. You're going to have to go real slow. Again, the balancing between the white keys and the black keys is going to be off a lot. So we're going to start with our thumbs. Notice F sharp and B. Go to the second fingers. Notice C sharp in the right hand, E in the left hand. Back to 1. Now you got to stay real tight because I almost came off. My right hand almost came off. See, it's off. If I don't stay with that third finger on the D sharp, it's going to get tricky. So now we go to 3 on D sharp. Luckily, it's D sharp in both hands, so the third finger is always the same note in both hands. So after 3, we're coming back to 1. And then 4, this one's tricky too. And part of it is not just the C sharp in the left hand, but that E. Make sure you don't go to F. Make sure you stay real tight. Get the E. After the D sharp, it's E. I'm starting to lose my fingering, so it's not feeling great. Going back to 1, and then 5s. B in the left hand, F sharp in the right hand. Going back to the 1. 4. Be careful again with the 4 on the E. 4 on C sharp in the left hand. 1. And then back to, see, I'm losing my place here. 3. D sharps. Back to 1. 2. And then back to 1. So that is a tricky one. If those fingers are not on those notes the whole time, you've got to know your notes extremely well. And again, they're not printed in the music. So this is a tough one. Memorize the pattern. So I'm not looking at the music, I'm watching my fingers. And that does make it a lot easier. So if you've memorized the pattern, look at the keyboard. Don't look at the music anymore. You really don't need to look at the music. Again, finger exercises is what this comes down to. It's not about reading notes. It's about dealing with the exercises. But understanding, the notes in the different keys, getting used to playing that's part of it. But you don't need the sheet music. So if you memorize it, it's actually going to be a lot easier. Now, let's look at the second line for the key of B. Whoops. So 5, 4. This is going to get super tricky because not only we're unbalanced, but we're working our weaker fingers right away. So 5, 4, back to 5, 3, 5, 2. Make sure that left hand, the E is on, your second finger's on E, not F, but E. And then 5, and then we end up on 1. So we continue going back to 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. And I find my fingers coming off the notes. I'm not doing a great job staying super close. Now I'm reading the notes on the page. Let me focus on watching my fingers this time. I'm not going to read the notes because I've memorized the pattern. 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3. See my third finger right there? I don't know if you'll have this issue. My third finger wants to go down to D natural. Well, you'll hear it when you play it, if that's the case, right? And if that is the case, it may just be me. But remember, the good news is the third finger in both hands are on the same note, D sharp. It's always the same middle note in all of these exercises, these 5-finger exercises. So that's almost like a little checkpoint. I'm going to do the bottom line again. 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 1. Yeah, something is just making my third finger just want to slip off there, be lazy. But I made mental note to play that D sharp with the third finger. Now, that's going to probably be your hardest scale, the B, no question, or our hardest pattern. Now, F has a B flat, F, G, A, B flat, and C. So second finger, fourth finger, make sure it's highlighting that B flat. So at the top, we got 1, 2. So B flat in the left hand, G in the right hand. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. B flat in the right hand, G in the left hand, and then 1, 5. Going back, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1. Now, starting on the second line, 5, 4. Get ready for that, B flat. So once again, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. Did I miss? I'm messing. I keep messing up. I think I'm doing fine, and I'm just losing my place. Sorry about that, guys. One more time on the second line. 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. Well, it just goes to show that this is just great finger and mental exercise. Absolutely. Now, speed. Don't worry about speed. I'm going probably faster than I need to. Go whatever speed you have complete focus and control on. That's what's most important. Now, lastly, we have B flat. This one's a little odd too, and part of it is because we start on B flat. So B flat, C, D, E flat, and F. So at the top, we've got ones on F and B flat. And then right away for the second fingers, the left hand goes to E flat, right hand C. So I got this little unbalanced portion here. So ones, twos, back to ones. Remember, threes are always the same note. D's in this case, 1, 4. 4 is tricky. Make sure it's C in the left hand, E flat in the right hand. Ones, and then 5s, B flat, and F. Now coming back. So 1, 4. Again, make sure you don't hit B natural with the fourth finger in the left hand. Make sure it's C. And then 1, 3, 1, 2, 1. I think I'm getting my first line and second line mixed up a few times. If I haven't been doing that, then great. I think in my brain, though, I'm mixing that up a little bit. All right, now let's go to the second line. So 5s, B flat and F, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. Yeah, so that is quite a workout, and if nothing else, at least for me, quite a mental workout. Just keeping all these patterns in order. And again, if you go back to C major, I mean, it's a very easy pattern, but as we add more sharps and flats, that pattern is shifted, it's altered, right? It's the same pattern. Like on the tabletop, it's the same, but you're not spaced out the same anymore because of the combination of white and black keys. And that's what gets so super tricky. And this is what makes piano challenging. Compare it to, like, say, a voice, a singer. You can sing in pretty much any key. You just alter your voice up or down slightly, right? Well, when you alter your hand position up or down, you're not just having to do that. You have to recalculate, the sharps and flats involved. And that's one of the things that I truly feel makes piano one of the most challenging instruments out there. So keep that in mind, that if it's hard, it feels hard. That's because it is. It is hard. But again, if you succeed at these finger exercises, I think in the long run, you're going to thank yourself for it and definitely feel a wonderful sense of accomplishment. So that being said, now let's go down to exercise 5. It's just one line. But this is the first exercise we have that starts on something other than C or G. We're actually starting with E. And remember, the E is the one note that the third fingers are always on the same note. In this case, it's E. So we're going from our third finger to our fourth finger, back to our third finger, and then our second finger. So in this key of C, we're, as written, E's, D and F, back to E's, and then F and D. Now, memorize this. The second measure is the same thing. Third finger, fourth finger, third finger, second finger. So playing the first two measures together is this. Got it? Now, the third measure and the fourth measure are the same. They're different than 1 and 2, but third and fourth are the same with each other. Third finger, fifth finger, third finger, thumb. Now, here's what I want you to get from this. You remember this chord? C major chord? The 1 chord in the key of C? That's what you're playing in these two measures. Except you're just breaking it up, going E, G, E, C. Now, how do you want to look at it? There's a lot of ways you can look at it. You can say, well, I'm just going E, G, E, and then C. But I want you to think about the fingering, of course. 3, 5. Wait. No, I don't know what I'm thinking today. That messed that up completely. X that. I'm sorry. You are outlining the C major chord. I forgot we're doing same fingering, not same notes. All right. Sorry about that. Man. Third finger over to fifth finger. Back to the third finger and then the thumb. So if you want to organize that, it could be third finger, expand outward to 5s, back to 3s, and then thumbs. Got it? So 3, 5, 3, 1, and then the next measure is the same. 3, 5, 3, 1, and then you're going to end it on E's. So it doesn't end on the usual C's or G and C or whatever. It actually ends on the same note you start with. All right, so let's put this whole exercise together, number 5. So we got third finger, fourth finger, third finger, second finger. Repeat it. 3, 4, 3, 2, and then 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, and then end it on 3s. All right, now let's transpose it. G major. So we got our G position, okay? No sharps, no flats, not in the 5-finger position anyways. So we got 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3. And I'm not doing the repeat, you noticed. I'm just going to skip that for time. But you can do that, of course. So those last two measures, well, measure 3 and 4, I'm outlining my 1 chord again, the G chord. So that'll be the case for all of these. Every key we play in, when we go to the key of D, you're going to be outlining the D chord in those two measures. Okay? Let's do that. Let's go to D. F sharp. Remember your F sharp, third finger. Starting with F sharp, actually, third fingers. So 3, 4, 3, 2. 3, 2, and then 3, 5, 3, 1. 3, 5, 3, 1, and then end it on 3. Now, A major. Same feel as D major, meaning third finger on a black key, C sharp in this case. So we got 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, and then 3. All right, so those are some of the easier ones. Now when we hit E major, it gets a little more tricky. Remember the F sharp and the G sharp. Okay, third finger's on G sharp. And then we go to 4, F sharp in the left hand, A in the right hand. Back to 3, 2, F sharp in the right hand, A in the left hand. Second measure is the same thing, right? 3, 4, 3, 2. And here we're going to outline our E chord. 3, 5, 3, 1. 3, 5, 3, 1, 3. So if you feel really confident about your chords, specifically the 1 chords of each of these, measures 3 and 4 should probably feel pretty easy. Pretty easy because you're just outlining. Not to mention you're not using your second or fourth finger. So you can eliminate those fingers in measures 3 and 4. You're not going to use those fingers in either hand. Now let's go on to B. B is the hard one. So B, C sharp, D sharp, E, and F sharp. Starting with our third finger, and then 4. So it's a little tricky already. Third finger, D sharps, but 4, make sure you go to E in the right hand, C sharp in the left hand. So 3, 4, 3, 2. Stay close. It's these E's that get everyone, because after D sharp, you don't want to go that close to get to the next note. You want to go over to F, right? Because that's spaced out a little bit more than what we're used to. But it's D sharp, and that E's right there. So this is what gets everyone with the key of B. Starting again, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. And that's one of the trickiest chords also to play. So highlighting this is a little tricky. 3, 5, B in the left hand, F sharp in the right hand, back to the 3, and then F sharp in the left hand, B in the right hand. So that's a little tricky. All right, now let's go to F major. Make sure you get that B flat, right? So we got 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, and then 3. And then B flat. Another key that is a little tricky. So we got 3, well, make sure we got B flat, C, D, E flat, and F. Double check, make sure you're on those. All right, so we got 3, 4. That's already a little tricky. 3's on D's, but then you got C and E flat. So 3, 4, 3, 2. E flat's now in your left hand, C in the right hand. Second measure, 3, 4, 3, 2, and then 3, 5, 3, 1. 3, 5, 3, 1. And then end it with 3. So that B flat, the B's are just tough. The B flat and the B, tough scales. Same pattern, same fingering. It's just more sharps, more flats, more oddball combinations. That takes us to our last exercise, number 6. So we're back in our C position. And so remember, same fingers, not same notes, same fingers. So we start with 1 to 3, and it repeats. So that's G and C over to E and E. So 1 and 3 twice. And then it's 5 and 3 twice in the second measure. Got it? So those two measures together, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. Now we skipped fingers 2 and 4. In the next two measures, you're only, well, excuse me. In the next measure, you're going to do only 2 and 4. 2, 4, 2, 4. And then this is interesting. It's almost like a little musical ending here at the very end. 2, 4, 3, 2, and then end it with 1, the G and the C. Of course, it repeats as well, but you're going to go back to G and C anyways. The notes that you end these exercises with are the same notes you start on. So let's put the whole line together. 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Not too bad. Let's see how it goes when we do the transposition. The key of G, probably pretty easy. All white keys, right? With the 5-finger pattern. So 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pretty easy. Now, D major. Got your F sharp. So here we go. 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully not too difficult for you after getting used to playing D major and what I feel like is some harder exercises, the previous couple. This one's just got more thirds in it. 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4. Those are all thirds. So more skips. A major. Like I said, A major is the exact same feel as D major. You've got the third finger on A sharp. So here we go. 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go down to E major. So remember E major, F sharps and G sharps. So we got, let's see, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4. That's a little tricky. That threw me off a little bit. 2 on the A, 2 on the F sharp, and then it reverses, right? So think about it. That's when you go from your second finger to your fourth finger, you're reversing notes. I don't think you need to think too much about that, but in this case, A and F sharp becomes F sharp in the left hand, A in the right hand. So 2, 4, 2, 4, and then the last two measures, 2, 4, 3. Now that comes out of nowhere. In other words, you get so hung up on these, it might be tempting to hit a G natural, but remember, keep your fingers real close. 2, 4, 3, and then you'll hit those G sharps. 2, 1. So that gets a little trickier. Now the big one, B major. So B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp. So we got 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will say this, if you do not keep your fingers really close to the keys, this will fall apart. Or you just have to know your notes extremely well. But this on B major is the hardest one, I think. 1, 3. I see what I did. I already goofed. My threes are on the same note. So 1, 3. Here's the thing though, and I believe this is why we goof. I got the same fingering. Let me go to C major. I got 1 and 3, 1 and 3. Look at C major, 1 and 3. Look at the spacing, right? It's the exact same spacing on the keyboard. But look at B major now. Look how much wider my right hand 1 and 3 is than my left hand. That's the goof right there. Or I should say that's what goofs us. That's what throws us off. It's not the same spacing like C major or even D or G. So this is why you got to stay really, really close to the keys, or just memorize what the third note is. It's a D sharp. What's the second note? Well, it depends. If you're talking about fingering in the left hand, it's an E. If you're talking about second note in the scale, it's actually C sharp. My advice for this exercise, stay close to the keys. This will be close key training. Then you won't miss a note. But if you slip at all, you're going to miss it, and you'll hear it. You'll hear it. You'll notice it. So 1, 3, 1, 3. And then we go next measure, 5, 3, 5, 3. And then 2. That's tricky. E in the left hand, C sharp in the right hand. 2, 4, 2, 4. And then last two measures, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Super tricky. I mean, my fingers are still slipping. I'm overthinking it because I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and that's my excuse for slipping a little bit. Now, normally I can just whip through this, right? And that's just years of training, and I'm used to playing in B major. I'm not used to actually thinking about it at this point. So I'm not saying don't think about it. It's just when you play piano for years and years and years, eventually you get to the point you don't. And that's great. I mean, that's where you do want to get. But certainly in the beginning, and I was there with all this stuff. When I started out, I had to think about this long and hard. So this is the hardest exercise on this page, in my opinion. The last exercise, number 6, in the key of B. 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, and then 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it is a true exercise for the fingers, because some of those combinations of notes, when you play them, it requires a good deal of strength, and you're going to feel your other fingers shift without even realizing it, without controlling it. So you need to go in this realizing it. So 1, 3, but check and make sure everything else hasn't moved. 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2. So when I did it that time, I could feel some fingers, like my pinky in the right hand, wanted to move. I felt for that, and I was aware of it, and I took care of it. I made sure it stayed. But if you go into that not thinking about that, there's a good chance the fingers are going to shift a little bit on you. All right, now we get to slightly easier. F major has the B flat, so 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's a walk in the park after B major. And then B flat. Now B flat's a little bit tricky too. B flat, C, D, E flat, and F. So we're going to start with 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2. This is where it gets tricky. E flat in the left hand, C in the right hand, 4. Now it's C in the left hand, E flat in the right hand, 2, 4. Last two measures, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. Certainly a tricky one as well. Again, not as hard as B major, but there it is. Okay, so we completed page 13. Lesson 13, obviously we'll focus on the exercises on the next page. I believe we do have 2 more pages of exercises. So the goal here is again, not speed. The goal is always accuracy, but the other goal is it's not about reading what's on the page. It is in the beginning, you know, just to see where these patterns are going, but they've only printed it in C major. Now, if you're reading it in C major and you love playing in C major, then reading the notes would be great. But the majority of this is spent transposing. And once you transpose, it's no longer about reading what's on the page. You can read the distance between the notes on the page, but I advise you to memorize the patterns, focus down here, and focus on watching all 5 fingers. So it's not only about the notes you're playing in the moment, it's making sure the other fingers don't move. Because like I've said again and again in this lesson, if they move, that's it. Unless you know your notes so well, then great, maybe you can readjust, you know, but I emphasize once again, this is a finger exercise. So this is a great opportunity to keep those fingers locked in, and that's going to exercise and that's going to strengthen them. At the same time, great mental exercise. If you are looking for something to strengthen your fingers, your finger independency, to an extent, I mean, we're using the same fingers in both hands, but independency as in we're trying to make sure one plays and the others don't react. If you want to do that, and something that really requires a lot of brain power, a lot of mental focus, this is a great exercise for you. So I know for older people, I have a lot of older students, I always hear things about, you know, finding ways to keep that mental clarity, that mental sharpness as we get older and older. This will do it. Absolutely. This may not be the most, you know, fun thing to do, but set aside 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day, even after you've learned these exercises, to continue going through them. Now, there will come a time when you finally learned it and it's no longer a challenge. And that's something to be celebrated, of course. That is a goal. There'll be other exercises later if you want to be challenged more. This is just the tip of the iceberg. But certainly in the meantime, if you find yourself having to really focus and strain a little bit, keep in mind that's a good thing. You are exercising yourself, your fingers and your brain. So it's not musical, but that's the other thing about this. This will all play into being musical. This is going to go into helping you play songs just that much better. And again, exercising your fingers to maneuver on the keyboard, better technique, faster technique. So it's all a win-win. The biggest challenge is just focusing and doing it. Because like I said, it's a dry subject. I'll be honest, absolutely. But in the end, like a lot of things, you'll be glad you did it. So, all right. That being said, I hope you did enjoy the video. I hope the explanation was clear, the way I broke it down. If there's any confusion at all, any questions, please feel free to leave some comments, questions in the section below. I'll do my best to answer them. And as always, I'll be back with our next video, lesson 13 shortly. We'll continue on these finger exercises and finish up preparatory level and get ready for level 1 soon after that. All right. Thanks so much, guys.